Today's recipe is bhaji of Pav Bhaji. So to make the bhaji, that's mixed vegetables, for this dish I have here 700 grams of cauliflower. I've got 700 grams of potatoes. I've just cubed the potatoes. Then I've got 150 grams of beetroot. I've got 650 grams of tomatoes, 350 grams of chopped onion, half cup of peas, 400 grams of capsicum. Here I have a mix of red and green capsicum. I've got 2 tablespoons of garlic paste, 1 tablespoon ginger paste. I've got homemade Pav Bhaji Masala plus salt as per taste, as well as we're going to use butter for this recipe. I've also got here Kashmiri Red Chilli Powder. This is 1 tablespoon, and 1 tablespoon of Kasoori Methi. We'll also require some lemon at the end of the recipe, plus coriander or cilantro leaves. So first I'm going to start boiling the vegetables, and this I'm going to boil the peas, the cauliflower, potatoes and beetroot together in a pressure cooker because it will help in boiling the vegetables quick. I'm using beetroot in this recipe because I do not use food coloring in my recipes, so beetroot will add some color to my bhaji recipe. I will be adding the vegetables to the pressure cooker. Now if you're not using a pressure cooker, you can most certainly boil it in a normal way, but pressure cooker just fastens the process of boiling these vegetables. I want to boil it till my vegetables are really soft and mashable. So I've added in the cauliflower, the potatoes. I'll be adding in the beetroots as well, and the peas. Now these are frozen peas. If you have fresh peas, it's perfect for this recipe. I'll just give it a quick stir. Add enough water to just cover the vegetables for boiling. Don't add too much water. And what I'll do is I'll add very little salt, half a teaspoon of salt in this. Don't add too much salt because when we use this vegetables for our final bhaji, at that time we will add salt to taste. Now at this point of time, if you want, you can add half a teaspoon or quarter teaspoon of turmeric powder. I'm not adding, but you can most certainly add that to this recipe. So now I'll just cook this till it boils. For homemade Pav Bhaji Masala, here I have cumin seeds, whole peppercorns, black cardamoms, cloves, coriander seeds, fennel seeds, bay leaf, cinnamon stick, Kashmiri Red Chilli. Plus here I've got turmeric powder, AAMCHUR powder, salt and black salt. So I'll write the quantities of all this in my description box. It'll be mentioned below, as well as on the screen it will appear. And what we need to do is first we need to dry roast these ingredients. After we dry roast them, I'll let it cool for a bit, and then I will grind them into a fine powder. Once I grind them into a fine powder, then I'll add these other dry ingredients like turmeric powder, AAMCHUR or mango powder, salt and black salt. So let's start dry roasting these ingredients. I've turned my flame on low. Please do not roast your spices on high because you don't want them burning. So here to the pan, I'm adding fennel seeds, I'm adding coriander seeds, cumin seeds, fennel seeds, cardamom, whole cardamoms, cloves and black peppercorn. So first I'll dry roast them for less than a minute, and then I'll add in my red chilies. I'll also add in the cinnamon sticks and the bay leaves, and I'll dry roast them for less than a minute. And continuously stir while dry roasting. Now it's been a minute. I'll add in the whole Kashmiri Red Chilli. I'm using Kashmiri Red Chilli because it's not spicy and it adds a very good color to any dish you make. So I'm going to dry roast all the ingredients for a further minute, and then I'll turn my stove off. I'll remove it in another dish and let it cool, and then I will grind it to a nice powder. Now this, I can smell the aromatic flavors from the spices. At this point of time, I'll turn my stove off. It's been almost 2 minutes, and I'll transfer it to a different plate and I'll let it cool before grinding. These spices have cooled down. Now I'll pour it in my dry grinder, as well as I'll just break the bay leaves, and as well as the cinnamon stick, and I'll just add in all the Kashmiri Red Chilli. I'll just break them so that they fit the dry grinder. And let's grind it to a nice fine powder. Now let's check if it's ground well, and you can see this Pav Bhaji Masala has ground well. Now to this I'll add in my turmeric powder, the AAMCHUR or mango powder. Give it a good stir, as well as salt. As I've got here 1 teaspoon of salt for this recipe and a 1/4 tablespoon of black salt. Give it a quick stir, and I'll just dry grind it one last time so that everything mixes well. Now this Pav Bhaji Masala is ready to use for your Pav Bhaji, your bhaji recipe. Please store this in an airtight container. To a warm wok, add 1/4 cup of butter. So I'll let this butter melt. Wait for this butter to melt, and make sure that the butter doesn't burn, because butter burns too at high temperature. So keep your flame at medium. Here I've added 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. Now this is a complete option. If you want to add, you can add it, or you can avoid adding the cumin seeds for this recipe. Now I'll add in the chopped onions. Give it a good stir, and I want to fry these onions till they are transparent or translucent. Now at this point of time, if you want to add a bit of salt, you can do, because salt helps the onions releasing moisture, which quickens the process of cooking these onions. I've just added a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but you can add salt as per your taste. I'll continue sauteing this till it's transparent. The onions look transparent at this time. Now I'll add in my tomatoes. Now we need to make sure when cooking these tomatoes, it should not dry out in this recipe, because you want moisture remaining. So first we cook these tomatoes till they are little pulpy. Tomatoes look pulpy. Now at this point of time, I'll add in my ginger and garlic paste. I'll also add in the Kashmiri Red Chilli Powder and Kasoori Methi. Give it a good stir. And now I'll add in my chopped capsicums or bell peppers. Capsicum and bell peppers are one and the same things. I will also add in more butter at this point of time. I'm just adding in a tablespoon of butter. Give it a good stir. I'll also add my homemade Pau Bhaji Masala. Now if you have store-bought, that will also work for the recipe. Give it a quick stir, and we let this cook till a little butter is seen around the edges. of the tomatoes. I'll add half a teaspoon of red chili. Now this depends on you. If you want the pav bhaji really spicy, you can add more red chili powder. I had added Kashmiri Red Chilli Powder earlier. That was not spicy and it's for the color of the dish. Continue cooking. Tomatoes have cooked well. You can see a little butter around the surface. Now my vegetables are boiled too. So I'll add my boiled vegetables to the tomatoes. You can see these are freshly boiled and I'll just press them to show how nicely the potatoes are cooked. Cauliflower is cooked well. Peas are cooked well as well. And I'll show you beetroot. Just press it and that's cooked well too. So I'll add in all my boiled vegetables and I will not discard the stock or the water of these vegetables. I can use that for soup in another recipe. I can also add the same water to my pav bhaji, the bhaji. Continue adding. Give it a good stir. At this point of time, we'll also start mashing everything with a potato masher, and you need to test for the salt as well. You need to taste it if the salt is enough for this recipe. If not, you need to add salt as well. Now I'll use my potato masher and we'll be mashing this entire thing to a pulpy consistency. If the peas don't get mashed, that's fine. The rest of the vegetables should be mashed. Now if you're using food coloring, you can add that at this point of time, red food coloring, but I don't use food coloring in my cooking. But if you want it to look like street style pav bhaji, the bhaji, then you can most certainly add food coloring and get that look. I'll add in more butter now and I'll let this cook on low flame for at least 10 minutes. I'm going to taste for the salt as well as I'm going to see if the Pav Bhaji Masala is enough in this recipe. So if I feel the Pav Bhaji Masala is less, I will be adding a bit more, because I added only 1 tablespoon of my homemade Pav Bhaji Masala. I'll be adding more butter to enhance the flavor of this Pav Bhaji, and I will be cooking this on low flame for a minimum of at least 5 to 10 minutes. I'll also add in some lemon juice. You can see there's a seed here. I'll just remove it. Give it a good stir. I'll add in some cilantro leaves and I'll continue cooking this covered for a minimum. I'll check after 5 minutes. If I feel I need to cook it further for another 5 minutes, I'll do that before I serve it. This bhaji of the pav bhaji combination is ready. We can serve it with paos. To a warm frying pan, I'll add in a bit of butter and my homemade pao. You can also have it with dinner rolls or even buns. Now this is ready. Show you, see how nicely it's browned here. I'll turn the stove off at this point of time. I'll plate it. For the recipe of homemade pau, please click on the link mentioned in the description box below. Pav Bhaji is ready to serve. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Please click on the bell icon for notification of my latest videos. Thank you for watching. Enjoy this yummy Pav Bhaji.